What if I told you that behind the closed doors of a seemingly perfect family, secrets can brew a storm, one deadly enough to change lives forever? In this dark tale, we unravel a chilling story of seduction, betrayal, and ultimate tragedy that left a family shattered. Our story begins with Emily, a woman of charm and allure, and her sister's husband, Max, a man trapped between loyalty and temptation. Together, their clandestine affair sets off a series of events that spiral into a tragedy no one could have foreseen. Stay with us as we delve into the haunting details, exploring the intricacies of deceit and desire that culminate in an unthinkable outcome. This is not just a story of love gone astray, but a cautionary tale of how dark passions can lead to devastating ends. Emily had always been the star of the family, a dazzling presence whose laughter could light up even the darkest room. She was born into a household where affection was abundant, yet expectations loomed large. Her sister Sarah grew up in Emily's shadow, a quiet figure content in her role as the supportive sibling. Sarah's marriage to Max seemed like a fairy tale, a union built on mutual respect and love, or so it appeared. Max, on the other hand, was a man shaped by duty, forever striving to maintain the perfect image of a devoted husband and son-in-law. Beneath his calm exterior, however, lay a restless heart, yearning for something more than the predictability of his daily life. As Emily and Max's paths began to cross more often, it wasn't long before they found themselves drawn to each other's hidden desires. Emily's vivacious spirit was a stark contrast to the routine that had come to define Max's existence. To her, the attention from Max was intoxicating, a validation of her charm and allure. It wasn't merely the thrill of the forbidden that enticed her, but the realization that she could inspire such passion in another. For Max, Emily represented a break from the monotony, a glimpse into a world where he felt truly seen and alive. Their attraction was not just a physical one, but an escape from the pressures they faced within their family roles. The underlying tensions and unspoken desires took root and began to fracture the very fabric of their relationships. Caught between the safety of what was and the uncertain allure of what could be, Emily and Max found themselves standing on the precipice of disaster, each choice they made edging them closer to an inevitable tragedy. In the tangled web of family and love, they lost sight of the boundaries that once kept them safe, leading them on a path where not all would survive. The allure of their affair began subtly, an electric tension crackling in the air whenever Emily and Max found themselves in the same room. Initially dismissing it as mere coincidence or benign friendship, they each tried to ignore the growing connection. But it wasn't long before those glances held a little too long, those smiles a shade too knowing. Emily found herself intrigued by the way Max's eyes would light up when she spoke, his laughter genuine in a way she hadn't often encountered. For Max, Emily was a breath of fresh air, her spontaneity and zest for life starkly contrasting with his carefully orchestrated routine. It was during a quiet family gathering, as the sun set in a blaze of color, that the first spark truly caught. A chance conversation, infused with laughter and mutual understanding, made the world around them fade away. They spoke of dreams and desires, unburdened by the roles they played for others. In Emily, Max found someone who encouraged him to voice the thoughts he had long buried. And for Emily, Max was a willing audience, someone who saw her not just as a sister or daughter, but as a vibrant woman with her own dreams. As their conversations deepened, so too did the emotional tether binding them. Each encounter left a lingering warmth, a secret shared only between them. Their hearts began to synchronize, beating in rhythm to a forbidden dance. Emily's allure became an irresistible force for Max, a magnet drawing him from the path of duty towards the realm of desire. And in this shared, secret world, they were free from judgment, free from the expectations that shackled their hearts in everyday life. But beneath the allure lay treacherous currents, slowly pulling them away from the shore of security, deeper into the tumult of uncharted waters. They could no longer deny the chemistry that sparked between them, nor the thrill of surrendering to it, even as their subconscious whispered warnings of the storm that lay ahead. In the glow of their burgeoning affair, they found solace and excitement, but unknowingly sowed the seeds of heartache and betrayal that would soon envelop them all. The web of lies began to weave itself almost naturally, an intricate tapestry of deceit spun by Emily and Max in their bid to keep their affair concealed. They became adept at navigating the delicate dance of secrecy, crafting excuses and fabrications that shielded their forbidden connection from prying eyes. With every stolen moment, they strengthened the illusion of normalcy, even as guilt simmered beneath the surface. Emily often feigned innocuous outings, shrouding her clandestine meetings with Max under the guise of harmless errands or visits with friends. Little did Sarah know that while she was busy planning the next family gathering, her sister was entangled in a dangerous liaison with the man she loved. Max, in turn, cloaked himself in the familiarity of routine, ensuring his absences appeared as part of his professional obligations. He played the role of the dutiful husband with meticulous precision, acutely aware of the razor-thin line he walked between devotion and betrayal. To their family, nothing seemed amiss. After all, Emily and Max had crafted their deception with the skill of master illusionists, ensuring the truth remained obscured from view. Yet, for all their efforts, subtle clues began to emerge, whispers of the affair embedded in everyday interactions. A fleeting glance between them, lasting a heartbeat longer than it should, or an unintended touch that lingered just a moment too long, these were the telltale signs that hinted at the depths of their duplicity. The stolen smiles and hushed conversations, dismissed by those around them as innocuous companionship, were in fact the threads of a deeper connection. Emily's laughter, once a source of joy for her family, now harbored a trace of secrecy, a hidden meaning that only Max understood. And in Max's presence, Sarah noticed a restlessness, a flicker of distraction that marred his usual composure. For those who dared to look beyond the surface, the shadow of their affair was beginning to take shape, its presence demanding to be acknowledged. As they ventured further into their tangled web, the lines between truth and deception grew increasingly blurred, threatening to unravel the facade they so desperately clung to. Yet, blinded by their desires, Emily and Max forged ahead, oblivious to the growing storm clouds on the horizon. Little did they realize that their carefully constructed world was built on a foundation as fragile as glass, teetering on the brink of shattering with each passing day. In the end, it was not the grand gestures or passionate confessions that betrayed their secret, but the quiet unraveling of the intricate web they had woven, leaving them exposed to the harsh light of reality and the inevitable consequences of their choices. The discovery of the affair detonated like a bomb in the family's idyllic world, sending shockwaves through their once serene existence. It happened on a seemingly ordinary afternoon, as Sarah absent-mindedly scrolled through Max's phone in search of an address she needed for an upcoming event. Her heart sank as she stumbled upon a string of messages that told a story of forbidden love, each word a dagger plunging into her already fragile trust. The words spoke of secret meetings and shared moments that should have belonged to her. The realization was immediate and crushing, her world crashing down in an instant. Emotions surged like a tidal wave. Disbelief quickly morphed into rage and heartbreak, leaving Sarah gasping for air in the wake of her shattered reality. She confronted Max, her voice trembling with a mixture of sorrow and fury, demanding answers he struggled to provide. His carefully maintained facade crumbled under the weight of the truth, exposing the tangled mess he'd woven. In that moment, the walls of their home reverberated with the echoes of screamed accusations and bitter sobs, each angry word a testament to the deep wounds inflicted by betrayal. For Emily, the revelation was a blade slashing through her world, leaving her exposed and vulnerable. As Sarah's eyes bore into hers, seeking answers, Emily realized the enormity of what they had done. The allure that once seemed so intoxicating now felt hollow and destructive, the web of lies dissipating under the harsh scrutiny of reality. The bond of sisterhood, once their anchor, was now a chain shackling them to the devastation they had wrought. The immediate consequences were profound and swift. The family, once tightly knit and bound by love, found itself unraveling at the seams. Trust was a casualty of their choices, leaving behind a trail of tears and shattered dreams. Max, consumed by guilt and remorse, grappled with the pain he had inflicted on Sarah, the woman who had stood by him with unwavering devotion. His betrayal echoed in every corner of their home, a persistent reminder of the love he had jeopardized. For Emily, the guilt was suffocating. She watched as the family she cherished teetered on the edge of collapse, her once vibrant spirit dulled by the stain of her actions. The relationships she'd taken for granted now lay in tatters, and the love she once sought felt distant and unobtainable. In the wake of discovery, there were no victors, only casualties of the choices they had made. The path they had taken, paved with secrecy and desire, had led them to this moment of truth, where the boundaries of love and betrayal converged with devastating clarity. As they each confronted the fallout, the echoes of their affair lingered, a haunting reminder of the heartache and loss that could never be undone. As the truth of Emily and Max's affair came to light, the reactions from family and friends were as varied as they were intense. The news spread like wildfire, ripping through the community that had once seen them as the embodiment of respectability and trust. Friends turned into distant figures, their once warm smiles replaced by looks of disbelief and judgment. The whispers followed them everywhere, becoming a constant reminder of their indiscretions. Sarah, the betrayed sister, was plunged into a tempest of emotional turmoil. Her heartache was searing, a relentless ache that gnawed at her every waking moment. The betrayal felt like a betrayal not just of her marriage, but of her family ties as well. She grappled with waves of anger and sorrow, her mind replaying scenes of the life she thought she knew, now shattered beyond recognition. The breakdown of trust was palpable, a chasm that seemed to widen with each passing day. Where there had once been laughter and shared memories, silence now lingered, a heavy presence that filled their home with a sense of mourning. For Sarah, the realization that her sister and husband had shared a deeper connection left her feeling isolated and betrayed. Every interaction was a painful reminder of the bond they had violated, casting a shadow over even the most mundane moments of life. The once vibrant gatherings of family and friends now felt tense and awkward, each member struggling to navigate the fragile landscape left in the aftermath. Conversations were stilted, and the warmth that had defined their interactions was replaced by an uncomfortable awareness of the elephant in the room. Friendships that had seemed unshakable were tested, some fractured under the strain, while others unexpectedly strengthened as allies emerged to support Sarah in her darkest hours. In their home, the atmosphere was strained, a constant reminder of the trust that had been broken. Max's attempts to reconcile were met with skepticism, his sincerity questioned in every gesture he made. Sarah found herself questioning the foundation of her marriage, unsure if forgiveness was possible in the face of such deep betrayal. Emily faced a different kind of turmoil, grappling with the consequences of her actions and the relationships she had irreparably damaged. Her once confident demeanor was now overlaid with guilt and regret, and the fortress of the familial bond that had always supported her seemed to crumble. The weight of her choices bore heavily on her shoulders, and she wrestled with the knowledge that she had not only hurt her sister, but had lost her own sense of self in the process. For both sisters, the road to healing appeared daunting, fraught with unresolved pain and unanswered questions. The story of Emily and Max had become a cautionary tale, a testament to the destructive power of unchecked desire and the fragile nature of trust. As the days turned into weeks, the emotional scars began to subside, though the path to true reconciliation remained uncertain. In the end, it was a journey each of them had to embark on, where forgiveness and understanding could only be forged through time, introspection, and an unwavering commitment to heal the wounds inflicted by choices once thoughtlessly made. The turning point in this harrowing tale of deceit came when tensions reached their zenith, a moment fraught with raw emotion and irreversible consequences. It began with a confrontation, one that no one saw coming, but everyone knew was inevitable. Sarah, driven by the simmering cauldron of betrayal and heartbreak, finally faced Emily and Max in a meeting that would forever alter the course of their lives. Her voice, though trembling, carried the full weight of her pain as she demanded answers from the two people she had loved most. Emily, caught in the crossfire of Sarah's piercing gaze and Max's silent remorse, felt the full brunt of her actions crash down upon her. Her once steadfast resolve crumbled under the intensity of Sarah's anguish. Max stood beside her, words catching in his throat, the enormity of his betrayal staring him squarely in the face. The confrontation was raw and unfiltered, a cathartic release of emotions that had been bottled up for far too long. The room echoed with declarations of anger and heartbreak as deep-seated tensions were laid bare. In the midst of it all, Emily attempted to bridge the chasm her actions had created, yet every gesture seemed feeble against the magnitude of the hurt she had inflicted. As the confrontation unfolded, the bonds that had once held the family together began to show signs of fracturing beyond repair. In the days that followed, threats loomed in the shadows as the repercussions of their actions extended beyond the family circle. Max's once unblemished reputation was now tainted by whispers and rumor, and he found himself on the receiving end of veiled threats from those who wished to defend Sarah's honor. Emily, too, felt the sting of judgment as friends and acquaintances distanced themselves, leaving her to grapple with the solitude of her choices. In an effort to salvage what remained of their family bonds, there were attempts at reconciliation, conversations punctuated by tears and exhaustion, as the three navigated the fragile terrain of forgiveness. Yet, despite their efforts, the lingering distrust acted as a barrier to healing, making each interaction a test of patience and understanding. As the intensity of these moments played out, it became clear that the path forward required more than words or apologies. It demanded a profound commitment to rebuild the shattered foundations of trust and family. The turning point had laid bare the fractures that had long been covered by the veneer of normalcy, and how these individuals chose to move forward would define the legacy of their choices. This moment was a reminder of the delicate balance that love and duty often demand, and the high price paid when that balance is tipped beyond repair. The plot thickens as the whispers of betrayal and revenge start to weave into the lives of Emily, Max, and Sarah. The once seemingly impenetrable walls of their family home now seem to echo with tension, as if the very foundation has been altered by the web of lies and deceit that has been spun within its walls. Emily finds herself behaving differently, her once radiant confidence replaced by a shadow of paranoia. She starts noticing things: Sarah's subdued yet piercing gaze, the way conversations halt when she enters the room, the hushed murmurs that follow her departure. It's as if an unseen force is conspiring to add weight to her already burdened conscience. Her mind races with possibilities, each more alarming than the last, as she wonders who else might be watching, waiting to see her falter. Max, too, is not immune to the creeping fingers of suspicion. His behavior begins to change, a restlessness taking hold as he realizes that once private matters might now be the subject of public intrigue. In his professional life, he feels eyes on him, whispers trailing him wherever he goes, eroding the foundation of the carefully constructed image he had maintained for years. The underlying fear that someone is out there, ready to exploit his mistake, weighs heavily on him. It isn't long before outsiders begin to insert themselves into the narrative, altering the course of this unfolding tragedy. Rumors swirl about a distant relative, known for his radical sense of family honor and justice, possibly seeking retribution on Sarah's behalf. Max grows increasingly wary, his every move calculated to avoid potential scandal. He imagines shadowy figures lurking in the periphery of his life, ready to strike at the slightest provocation. Emily, feeling cornered, becomes hyper-aware of potential plots against her. She begins to question the motives of those once considered friends, their kindness now seeming thinly veiled threats dressed as concern. Her suspicion reaches a boiling point when she receives an anonymous letter slipped through her door in the dead of night, a single sheet of paper bearing a simple warning to watch her back. Though unsigned, the message carries an unspoken promise of vengeance, and its implications are devastating. The letter ignites a fear that propels her deeper into paranoia, alienating her further from those around her. Sarah, though quietly seething with betrayal, becomes an unintentional catalyst in this convoluted tale. Her daily interactions carry an edge of bitterness, yet it's the unexpected visits from sympathetic neighbors and the offers of support from unexpected quarters that stir the pot further. Friends and acquaintances, once aloof, now seem to rally around her, their gestures raising questions about their true intentions. Are they genuine in their concern, or is there a deeper agenda at play, fueled by the sordid details of Emily and Max's affair? As the storm of suspicion and intrigue gathers momentum, the fragile threads holding this trio together begin to fray. Each new whisper, every sideways glance, becomes a potential threat, and they find themselves in a relentless cycle of fear and mistrust. They are caught in the maelstrom of speculation and resentment, their every action scrutinized and dissected by an audience eager for the next chapter in their dark saga. The involvement of these outsiders intensifies the already volatile situation, setting the stage for a confrontation that will test the limits of loyalty and redemption. Each character, now a pawn in a larger game of consequences, must navigate this treacherous terrain where even the smallest misstep could spell disaster. In this tale of seduction, betrayal, and revenge, the stakes have never been higher, with the specter of unknown motives adding a chilling layer to an already complex narrative. Little do they know, this is merely the beginning of a descent into deeper, darker waters, where not everyone will emerge unscathed. The climax unfolds on a stormy night, when the building tension reaches its breaking point. The air is thick with anticipation, the heavy clouds above mirroring the turmoil brewing within the household. Emily, Max, and Sarah are drawn into an inevitable collision that none of them can escape. Emily finds herself pacing the dimly lit corridors of their home, her mind a whirlwind of fear and anxiety. She knows something is amiss, yet the truth remains just out of reach, cloaked in the darkness of mounting dread. Outside, the storm rages, its howls echoing the screams of her conscience. On this fateful night, Sarah decides she can no longer endure the agony of betrayal and deceit. Her heart, once tender and forgiving, now beats with a resolve hardened by despair. She confronts Emily and Max, her voice a mixture of cold fury and heart-wrenching sorrow. The confrontation, intensified by the storm's fury, spirals into a fierce exchange of accusations and admissions. Every word is a weapon, slicing through the remaining ties that bind them. As the argument crescendos, the power suddenly cuts out, plunging the house into darkness. In the chaos, shadows seem to come alive, feeding the frenzy of fear and anger. It's in this ominous blackness that an unexpected figure emerges, a silhouette defined by bitter resolve. The figure is Patrick, the estranged cousin Sarah never expected to see again. His presence sends a chill down her spine and ignites a fire of revenge within his eyes. He, too, had heard of the affair and the disgrace it brought upon their family. The storm outside pales in comparison to the tempest raging in his heart. He storms into the room, his voice booming as thunder rolls outside. The sight of Emily and Max fuels his anger, every ounce of betrayal exacerbating his sense of righteous indignation. In a blur of motions driven by fury, the scene descends into chaos. Emily pleads, her voice drowned by the storm, while Max attempts to reason. But Patrick is deaf to their cries, his purpose unyielding. The room becomes a battleground, furniture appended in a frenzied clash of will and desperation. The air is charged with the scent of ozone and fear, every breath a gamble for survival. In the confusion, a glint of metal catches the dim light a knife, once a mere kitchen tool, now transformed into an instrument of fate in Patrick's grip. Sarah, torn between the desire for vengeance and the pangs of familial love, finds herself frozen, paralyzed by the weight of decisions she never imagined she'd face. Her voice, an anguished whisper, begs for reason amidst the madness, yet the storm both outside and within offers no reprieve. Emily and Max, in a desperate attempt to salvage what fragments remain of their world, cling to each other. But the storm of their making rages on, heedless of their pleas. As Patrick's rage breaches its limits, the night is pierced by a chilling scream, a sound that carries the weight of shattered dreams and finality. In the wake of that scream, silence falls, a void that seems to swallow the chaos whole. The storm outside abates, as if acknowledging the tragedy within. As the first light of dawn creeps through the windows, the house stands eerily still, a tableau frozen at the height of devastation. The once carefully concealed secrets now lay bare, and the cost of their desires is written in the haunting stillness that follows. In the end, the allure of forbidden love and the pursuit of retribution culminated in a tragic collision, a testament to the destructive forces of passion and vengeance. And in the quiet aftermath, the question remains, lingering like a specter above them. Was it ever worth the price paid in blood and sorrow? The investigation begins as the dawn barely breaks over the somber aftermath of the night's tragic events. The once peaceful neighborhood is now a hive of activity, police cars lining the streets, red and blue lights reflecting on the wet pavement. Officers meticulously comb through the now crime-ridden home, each step taken with a mix of caution and urgency. The air inside is thick with tension, and the unmistakable scent of rain, mingling with something darker, something more ominous. Inside, the house is a tableau of chaos. Furniture is overturned, and household items are strewn about, painting a vivid picture of the violent eruption of emotions that had taken place. The dim light filtering through the curtains casts eerie shadows, highlighting every crack and crevice in the once warm and inviting living room. Evidence markers are scattered across the floor, guiding the investigators as they meticulously document the scene. Detectives Anderson and Ramirez, seasoned in their field yet visibly moved by the scene before them, begin their work. Their eyes, trained to uncover the untold stories left in the wake of tragedy, scan the room with grim determination. They exchange knowing glances as they piece together the narrative hidden in the disorder, each clue a silent witness to the events that unfolded. The knife, now a grim center of focus, lies discarded on the floor, its presence a chilling testament to the night's violence. Forensics carefully collect it, preserving its potential secrets, every fingerprint or trace evidence a key to unraveling the mystery. As the investigation proceeds, whispers of Patrick's involvement begin to surface. Neighbors, once friendly and unassuming, now gather at the edges of the scene, their hushed conversations rife with speculation and shock. The rumors of Patrick's past, his volatile temperament, and the recent family drama lend weight to the theory of his involvement. The detectives sift through these whispers, distinguishing fact from fiction as they seek to untangle the web of motivations and emotions leading to this tragic outcome. In the days that follow, emerging leads point decisively toward Patrick. Witness statements describe a figure matching his description entering the home that fateful night. His history, marred by unresolved family grievances and a fierce loyalty to blood ties, becomes a focal point of the investigation. The detectives delve into his past, uncovering a trail of simmering resentment and impulsive actions, each piece of information adding weight to the growing case against him. Meanwhile, the surviving members of the family endure questioning, their grief now compounded by the looming threat of legal consequences. The detectives approach them with a mix of empathy and professionalism, knowing that behind every answer lies a deeper layer of pain and regret. Max, his demeanor now a shadow of his former self, struggles to find words that adequately convey the sorrow and remorse he feels. Emily, too, is a picture of shattered resolve, the weight of past choices evident in every strained expression. Sarah, caught between her roles as victim and survivor, grapples with the reality that her cousin, the person she once trusted, may be responsible for the night's horrific turn. As the investigation gathers momentum, each piece of evidence and each testimony brings the case closer to resolution. The question of why, though haunting, takes a backseat to the mounting evidence of who. With every new lead, the detectives are ever closer to unraveling the tangled threads that bind this family tragedy together, driven by a commitment to uncover the truth, however painful it may be. The unraveling of this dark mystery took a decisive turn with a series of breakthroughs in the investigation. As the detectives continued their relentless pursuit of truth, the pieces of the chilling puzzle began to fall into place. Witness testimonies became a crucial part of the narrative, each one adding layers to the story and slowly revealing the intricacies of that fateful night. A key witness was a neighbor, an elderly woman known for her quiet demeanor, who provided an unexpected insight. On that stormy night, she had heard raised voices and a scream that pierced through the rain, followed by the unmistakable silhouette of a man hurriedly leaving the scene. Her recollection of the shadowy figure, though vague, was consistent with Patrick's known attire, further corroborating the theory of his involvement. Additionally, another neighbor mentioned seeing a car parked unusually close to the house, identifying it as one frequently used by Patrick. This new information lent weight to the timeline being constructed by the detectives, suggesting that Patrick had entered the home with a clear purpose. The evidence from the crime scene played a pivotal role in unveiling the truth. Forensic analysis of the knife revealed fingerprints that linked the weapon directly to Patrick, a discovery that effectively tied him to the events of that night. But the breakthrough came with the discovery of a journal found tucked away in his apartment, filled with entries that exposed his escalating frustration with the family dynamics and his skewed sense of justice. It painted a portrait of a man whose loyalty to family honor had twisted into a dangerous vendetta. Conversations with Patrick's acquaintances further outlined his volatile nature. They described a man consumed by the belief that he was the arbiter of family honor, someone who often spoke with pride about his willingness to do whatever it took to defend his loved ones, no matter the cost. This mindset, when paired with the betrayal he perceived, set the stage for the night's tragic outcome. The detectives also revisited the anonymous letter Emily had received, tracing its origin back to Patrick's known associates, adding another layer of premeditation to his actions. The letter, now seen not just as a warning, but as a calculated move by Patrick to intensify Emily's fear, provided further context to his manipulative tendencies. As the investigators pieced together the chilling tale, the narrative that emerged was one of unchecked passions spiraling into chaos. Their pursuit of the truth was now bolstered by a robust collection of evidence and testimonies, each element contributing to a clearer picture of how the family's lingering tensions had exploded into violence. In the quiet aftermath of these revelations, the focus shifted to Patrick, now a central figure in the investigation. The detectives, armed with the knowledge gleaned from physical evidence and corroborated by witness accounts, moved with certainty toward a resolution. As they prepared to take the necessary legal actions, the weight of the unraveling mystery lay heavy on all involved. For Emily, Sarah, and Max, the revelations brought a mixture of sorrow and relief, signaling the beginning of a long and arduous journey towards healing. Yet, beneath the surface of this tragic tale, the echoes of choices made lingered, a haunting reminder of the delicate threads that bind love, loyalty, and devastation. The courtroom drama unfolds with an intensity befitting the grave circumstances surrounding the case. The trial of Patrick becomes a spectacle, drawing media attention from every corner, each outlet vying to capture the latest twist in this true crime saga. The courtroom itself becomes a theater of human emotion, where every glance, every whisper carries weight. Reporters pack the room, their cameras flashing as the key players make their entrances. Emily, Sarah, and Max each wear their own layers of visible strain, the remnants of their ordeal etched into their expressions. The public's fascination with this dark tale adds an additional layer of pressure, as the trial's every development is hungrily consumed by a captivated audience. The prosecutor opens with a compelling narrative, painting a vivid picture of Patrick's actions and the motivations that led to the fateful night. Each piece of evidence is methodically presented, from the damning fingerprints on the knife to the chilling passages in Patrick's journal. Witnesses are called to the stand, their testimonies corroborating the timeline and adding depth to the prosecution's case. Neighbors recount the ominous events leading up to the tragedy, their words painting a haunting canvas of the night in question. The defense, in turn, strives to create a counter-narrative, attempting to shed doubt on the evidence and introduce the possibility of mitigating circumstances. Patrick's lawyer argues with fervor, portraying him as a man pushed to the brink by a family dynamic spiraling out of control. They highlight his history of mental health struggles, aiming to engender a sense of empathy in the jury. As the trial progresses, the tension in the room becomes palpable. Each cross-examination is a delicate dance, with lawyers for both sides maneuvering to elicit reactions and revelations that could sway the jury's perspective. Emotional testimonies from the family members add complexity, their voices carrying the weight of loss and regret. Media coverage is relentless, with daily reports capturing the courtroom's charged atmosphere and the dramatic revelations it yields. Headlines chronicle every new piece of evidence, every emotional outburst, each article dissecting the impact of these revelations on public perception. For Emily, Sarah, and Max, the trial is an emotional roller coaster, reopening wounds that had scarcely begun to heal. Sarah's testimony is especially gripping, her words delivered with a mixture of strength and vulnerability as she recounts the betrayal and the night that changed everything. As the trial nears its conclusion, the prosecution and defense present their closing arguments, each vying to leave a lasting impression on the jury. The prosecution emphasizes the premeditation and malice evident in Patrick's actions, while the defense implores the jury to consider the emotional turmoil that clouded his judgment. In the end, the jury's decision will determine not only Patrick's fate, but the closure that the family so desperately seeks. As the courtroom waits in tense anticipation, the echoes of choices and consequences linger, a testament to the tangled web of human emotions that can lead to the most tragic of outcomes. The verdict is delivered in a courtroom that holds its breath in silent anticipation. As the judge speaks, the room seems to constrict with tension. Patrick is found guilty, the weight of evidence and testimonies too compelling for any other outcome. The jury's unanimous decision reverberates through the courtroom, a stark acknowledgement of the tragic chain of events that had led them here. The sentence is severe, a reflection of the gravity of his actions, decades to be served behind bars, a lifetime for some, but to those gathered, it feels both necessary and profoundly sad. As the gavel strikes, signaling the end of the trial, there is a release, a collective exhalation as the reality begins to sink in. For Emily, Sarah, and Max, the conclusion of the trial offers a bittersweet form of closure. Justice, in its legal form, has been served, yet the shadow of the past lingers, a constant reminder of the fragile nature of trust and the destructive potential of unchecked emotions. The sentencing, while bringing a certain resolution, cannot mend the broken bonds or erase the memories of betrayal and heartache. In the days that follow, the family begins the arduous process of healing, each member navigating their own path towards whatever semblance of normalcy they can reclaim. Sarah, burdened with the pain of loss but armed with resilience, starts to rebuild her life, though the scars of betrayal run deep. Trust, once given freely, must now be earned, a lesson learned through the harshest of trials. For Max and Emily, the road is littered with regret and the knowledge of the havoc their choices wrought. In their hearts, they carry the realizations born of suffering, a commitment to never tread such a path again. As they seek forgiveness and understanding, they face the challenge of forgiving themselves. The community, once embroiled in the scandal, finds its own peace in the verdict. The tale of their neighbors had become a cautionary story, an embodiment of complex human emotions and the thin line that separates love from obsession. Conversations that once whispered of intrigue and gossip shift to reflections on forgiveness, redemption, and the importance of compassion in the face of adversity. The trial has left its imprint on the neighborhood, a lingering reminder of the events that unfolded within their midst. Families gather close, valuing the bonds they share, aware of the fragility of human connections. In schools and community centers, discussions emerge about the importance of mental health, communication, and the lessons to be learned from tragedy. The narrative of Emily, Sarah, and Max, while deeply personal, resonates with universal themes of love, betrayal, and the quest for redemption. As time passes, the echoes of their story fade but do not disappear, serving as a quiet testament to the complexity of human relationships and the enduring impact of choices made in moments of vulnerability. In the quiet of their own reflections, those touched by the story find solace in the knowledge that, even amidst darkness, there is an opportunity for light to emerge, for healing to begin, and for hope to take root anew. Exploring the lessons and reflections from this tragic tale, we find ourselves confronted with profound questions about human nature and the societal constructs that can lead to such devastating consequences. At its core, this story reveals the complexities of desire and the thin line between passion and destruction. It underscores the role of unchecked emotions and the critical importance of communication and boundaries within relationships. The psychological implications are vast and unsettling. The affair between Emily and Max serves as a cautionary reminder of how even the strongest familial bonds can be eroded by deceit and temptation. It forces us to consider the nature of loyalty and fidelity, questioning what drives individuals to seek validation outside their existing commitments. We are prompted to reflect on the vulnerability of trust and how easily it can be shattered, leaving a trail of emotional wreckage in its wake. On a societal level, this story challenges us to scrutinize the stigmas and pressures that can perpetuate cycles of secrecy and betrayal. It highlights the damaging effects of placing undue expectations on individuals to conform to idealized roles, whether as the perfect spouse or dutiful sibling. These societal pressures can stifle open dialogue and self-expression, creating an environment where communication breaks down and misunderstandings flourish. The narrative also brings to light the importance of mental health awareness. Patrick's actions, fueled by distorted perceptions of honor and justice, underscore how untreated emotional issues can escalate into destructive behavior. It calls for a societal shift towards greater empathy and understanding, advocating for open discussions around mental health and the need for accessible resources to support those in distress. Moreover, this case prompts us to ponder the ethical dilemmas surrounding forgiveness and redemption. The journey towards healing and reconciliation is fraught with challenges, yet it serves as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It encourages viewers to reflect on their own capacity for forgiveness and the importance of empathy in rebuilding relationships. In the wake of such tragedy, the lessons gleaned are both personal and universal. They remind us of the fragility of human connections and the enduring impact of our choices. As we ponder these moral and ethical questions, we are urged to consider our own actions and the potential repercussions they may have on those we hold dear. This story, though rooted in darkness, ultimately reflects the potential for growth and healing that emerges from honest introspection and the courage to confront our own vulnerabilities. As viewers, we are left to carry these reflections forward, applying the insights gained to foster stronger, more compassionate relationships in our own lives. In summary, this harrowing tale of love, betrayal, and tragedy serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of human relationships and the devastating consequences that can arise when desires spiral out of control. Emily and Max's affair, driven by unchecked passion, shattered the bonds of family and trust, leading to a series of events that culminated in loss, heartbreak, and a haunting conclusion. The complexity of their emotional entanglement highlights the delicate balance between love and fidelity, showing how quickly the foundation of seemingly strong relationships can crumble under the weight of deceit. Sarah's journey from betrayal to resilience underscores the profound impact of trust broken, yet also the potential for healing when faced with the harsh reality of human frailty. The involvement of Patrick and the subsequent courtroom drama reveal the tangled web of motives fueled by misguided notions of honor, leaving a chilling legacy in its wake. This story not only delves into the depths of human emotions, but also challenges us to reflect on our own lives and relationships. It compels us to recognize the importance of communication, honesty, and boundaries, urging us to approach our connections with empathy and understanding. As we ponder the lessons learned from this tragic narrative, let it serve as a cautionary tale and a catalyst for positive change in our own interactions, reinforcing the need for compassion and the courage to confront our vulnerabilities. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you found this story compelling, please subscribe to our channel, like the video, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more gripping narratives.